Hi everyone, and welcome back to Movies Recap. Today I'm going to show you the 2019 action thriller Cold Pursuit. Beware of spoilers. Take caution and be cautious. Snowplow driver Nels Coxman and his wife Grace lead a peaceful existence in the village of Kaya. Their son Carl Coxman, who works at the Kaya airport, frequently pays the couple a visit. The night does not go well for Coxman after receiving the community's Citizen of the Year award since his son and his friend Dante are abducted from the airport. While they are traveling, the kidnappers give him a heroin overdose that kills him, but Dante is able to escape the van. In Denver, a drug cartel boss named Viking wants his son Ryan to use violence at school to exact revenge on the bullies, but Ryan declines because he is a non-violent person. Carl's death is reported, and Coxman and Grace are contacted to identify the body. Grace is saddened to see her son in this condition and challenges Coxman about his lack of emotion. The doctor claims that a drug overdose caused his death, but Coxman does not believe him because he knows that Carl was never a drug user. He attempts to shoot himself with his shotgun after learning of the death of his son, but Dante, who has been hidden in the workshop ever since the tragedy, stops him. He recounts the entire scenario to him, while being horrified by what happened to Carl, explaining that his death was not due to an overdose. Angered after learning this, Coxman coerces him into disclosing the identities and whereabouts of the kidnappers and learns details about a man by the name of Speedo. When he confronts Speedo about his son's death at a nearby club, Speedo claims not to have any knowledge of it. Instead, he asks him to go while threatening him, but Coxman takes him down. Coxman tortures him once more after he awakens, at which point he admits that he carried out the commands of a man by the name of Limbo. Coxman assassinates Limbo and tosses his body into the river after Limbo's identity has been established. Viking learns about Speedo's disappearance as he was once his employee as he was on his way to drop Ryan off at school. After killing Speedo, Coxman discovers Limbo at his employment and tortures him to learn more about his leader, despite Ryan's suspicions that he must have done something to him. Then, exactly as he did earlier, he shoots him and throws his body into the river. Grace asks him about Carl's activities when he gets home, but she is disappointed to learn that he never developed a relationship with his son. When Viking returns to Denver, his ex-wife pays him a visit and lets him know that Ryan's custody request has been filed. He becomes irate with her and offers her money in exchange, but she declines. Before he has a chance to persuade her any further, Viking learns of Limbo's disappearance. Ryan watches him with concern as he begins to question his employees and reprimands them. Coxman shoots Santa, another mobster who was complicit in the kidnapping of his son, as he continues his murdering spree. After becoming offended by his lack of sorrow over their dead kid, Grace left the house when Paul got home. He meets his brother Brock Coxman, an ex-gang member, after being left alone, and tells him the entire incident. Brock informs him that when Carl attempted to rob Viking, the drug boss, of his gold, they thought it was Dante. Viking is told by Brock, who used to work with him, that he cannot be reached. Brock does not think Coxman can kill anyone because he has never been involved in such activities, despite the fact that Coxman admits he wants to exact revenge on Carl. Viking is informed about Santa as they talk about the problem. Given that a third member of his group vanished within a week, he becomes suspicious and assumes that his competitor White Bull is responsible for the chaos. He explains to his group that he formerly collaborated with White Bull, but they later agreed not to intrude on each other's turf. He believes they are breaking the terms of the agreement and wants to make them pay for it. He instructs his guys to kidnap a member of the rival gang and torture him in order to obtain information. Viking becomes enraged when he refuses to reveal anything and shoots him without realizing that he is the only child of his enemy White Bull. Detectives Kim Dash and John Jip of the Kyle Police Department also learn about the murder and believe it to be the start of a turf war between two gangs that might destabilize the community. Dash implores Jip to start the inquiry even if he seems apprehensive, as they need to take action to stop the impending threat. At Brock's residence, he informs Coxman that Viking is actually Trevor Colcote and that he should be killed by a hired assassin. He informs him about a man named Eskimo and suggests that he pay him in advance for his services. Coxman contacts Eskimo upon his advice and extends an invitation to visit. He provides him half of the agreed-upon fee while showing him the room in a nearby hotel, but Eskimo misidentifies him as a police officer and starts to argue. He appeases him by verifying his identity. After receiving payment from him, Eskimo goes to the Viking and demands the same sum in exchange for the knowledge that someone is attempting to have him killed. He says that Coxman wants him killed after they send the necessary funds into his account. Given that he once worked with his father and may have some unresolved issues, Viking believes it to be Brock Coxman. As soon as Viking learns the truth from Eskimo, he chastises the latter for breaking his agreement with Coxman and shoots him as punishment. Nels Coxman tries to find out more about Viking or Trevor Collet while his men dispose of the dead. Brock is offered a lift by Viking when he arrives at his home. In the car, he questions why his guys were killed and makes death threats to the driver. Brock, who already has rectal cancer, decides to save his brother and accepts responsibility, claiming that he only wanted to get even because his father stole his lady. Viking also kills him after hearing him out and deciding he poses a threat. White Bull, the leader of a rival gang, is also mourning the loss of his kid. He reminds his group about the previous agreement with Viking's father, but he makes it clear that it is no longer valid because they killed the man's son as payment. He declares taking a son for a son and wants to exact revenge on him. Coxman observes Viking's home after learning that Eskimo did not kill him. There, he sees Viking with his son and learns of his prep school. After killing Brock and learning that White Bull was not involved in the deaths of his gang mates, Viking decides to extend his agreement with them. In order to accomplish this, he kills his own man Dexter and instructs his squad to give White Bull his head as a gift. White Bull has already given the order to abduct Ryan from his school, but he requests that they hold off while he hears from Viking. His messenger displays Dexter's skull and informs him that Dexter killed his kid, and as a result, they have punished him in order to uphold their end of the bargain. While expressing his desire to solely have Viking's son, White Bull thanks him for the gift before shooting him. Meanwhile, Kim learns that Carl used to work with Dante at the Kyle airport and that he passed away from an overdose. She sees Coxman and expresses her concern that, in her opinion, his overdose was not the cause of death. She begs for his assistance in uncovering the truth, but he declines and claims she can do nothing for him at this time as his son has already passed away. Before we continue on, like the video, press the subscribe button and switch on that notification bell to join our expendable squad. Coxman tells Ryan's teacher that his father sent him to fetch him up when he gets at Ryan's school later. Coxman persuades Ryan, who has never seen him before, to accompany him. He is seen outside the school by White Bull's men, who begin after him, but he delivers Ryan home without incident. The news of his son's disappearance reaches Viking. Before he can take any action to track him down, his wife reappears and confronts him for taking Ryan without his consent. As he informs her of Ryan's kidnapping, he gives her the assurance that someone will phone in with his demands for ransom and he will free Ryan. On the other side, Dexter's gang member texts Dexter about staying at a hotel, which is received by White Bull's guys. They find him quickly and kill him as well. In order to keep an eye on the Viking and his gang, White Bull and his group travel to a ski resort in Kyle. In the meantime, Coxman shows up at his house with Ryan and offers to make him lunch. When Ryan inquires about his family, he replies that he does not. After acknowledging that he had a son but that he no longer lived with him, he treats him kindly and offers for him to sleep in Carl's room. Even more, he offers to take him for a ride on his snowplow and reads him a story, while they awaited their upcoming mission. While the gang members are having fun at the resort, White Bull misses his son and vows to exact retribution. A school janitor who confesses that Coxman stole Ryan is brought in by Viking's men back in Denver. Viking understands that he misinterpreted the names and that Brock wasn't the one trying to trick him, rather, it was someone else. Calling Viking, Coxman requests that he come over by himself to retrieve his son. He is reassured by Viking that has directed his team to Kyle. They search his home but are unable to identify Cox, that he orders his team to go to Kyle. They raided his house but could not find anyone. As Coxman takes Ryan out for a ride on his snowplow, they come across a police car, and Coxman introduces Ryan as his nephew. While talking to him, Chip tells him he saw many cars at his house, and Coxman realizes the Viking has arrived. While searching his house, they find the company name from one of the pictures and decide to go there to find Ryan. As the Viking and his men head out, one of his men leaks the information and tells White Bull about them. Coxman aims at their cars and tries to shoot Viking, but is interrupted by Ryan, who quickly he brings him back inside and asks him to stay there until he comes back to pick him up. He once again tries to shoot him but does not get a chance and is caught by his men, who take him to Viking and question him about Ryan, but before Coxman can tell anything about White Bull, the gang arrives and begins shooting. A fight emerges between the rival groups, which kills almost everyone on both sides. The Viking tries to run away, but Coxman traps him in his car while a White Bull shoots him as he leaves the scene. To get back to work, White Bull gets in the truck with Coxman. The police arrive at the scene and find Viking right before his death while Ryan drives away in the snowplow. White Bull gets satisfied with Coxman after realizing he is not a criminal. He puts his gun down, and they drive away while the last remaining gang member on a parachute accidentally comes in front of them and gets killed by the plow at the end. Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Turn on notifications to stay updated, and thanks for your support.